The moment she said those words, "Where are you looking?" "My eyes are up here," my entire world froze. I never expected to see my boss outside the office, let alone on a quiet beach at sunrise, dressed in a way that made my brain forget how to function. I felt the blood drain from my face as I tried to form a sentence, but all I could think was that this had to be some kind of nightmare. If there was ever a moment capable of destroying or reshaping my entire career, this was it, and I had no idea which way it would go. But what happened next changed everything: my job, my life, and the way I saw her forever. I woke up before dawn that Saturday, hoping to escape the noise of the week. The office had been overwhelming lately: unrealistic deadlines, a merger announcement, and the constant pressure of working under a woman like Ms. Sophia Hale, a CEO known for being brilliant, bold, and impossible to impress. I respected her, but she intimidated me more than anyone I'd ever met. That morning, I just wanted peace, sand under my feet, and a chance to breathe. I didn't think anyone else would be crazy enough to show up at the beach at 6 a.m., so when I saw a lone figure standing near the shoreline, I didn't pay much attention. I watched closer, just admiring the view, until the sun hit her face and my heart stopped. It was her. Sophia. My boss. In casual clothing, barefoot, hair down, looking nothing like the unshakable executive I saw every day. She was human, soft, and strangely peaceful. I froze mid-step. And that was when she turned around and caught me staring. My eyes had drifted for a moment. Blame the shock, the contrast, the unexpectedness, and when she snapped, "Where are you looking?" "My eyes are up here," my soul nearly left my body. I stammered something unintelligible. She raised an eyebrow, sighed, and then, to my utter shock, laughed. Not the corporate, polite laugh she used in meetings. A real one. "Relax," she said. "I'm kidding. Mostly." I didn't know whether to run or apologize again, but before I could choose, she motioned to the waves. "Walk with me?" I didn't know why she was asking, but something in her expression told me she needed company more than she wanted to admit. As we walked, she opened up in a way I'd never seen before. She talked about the pressure she carried, her fear of failing her team during the merger, and how she hadn't slept in 2 days. I listened, stunned that someone so powerful could sound so fragile. At one point, her voice cracked, not enough for most people to notice, but enough for me. "I hate that everyone sees me as unbreakable," she whispered. "Do you ever feel tired of pretending you're okay?" I nodded, maybe too quickly. "Every day." She looked at me, really looked, and something shifted between us. For the first time, I didn't feel like her employee. I felt like someone she trusted. We talked until the sun fully rose. I joked about how terrified I'd been when she caught me staring, and she smirked. "Good. You should be scared," she teased, bumping her shoulder gently against mine. And somehow, that moment felt like the start of something neither of us understood yet. When we finally parted ways, she touched my arm and said softly, "Thank you for seeing me today." The next week at work was different. She wasn't the ice wall CEO. She wasn't exactly soft, but she wasn't distant either. She asked for my opinions. She smiled more. She even waited for me in the elevator once, something she'd never done before. Rumors started. I ignored them. But deep down, I felt the shift too. I tried to act normal, but every time she walked by, the memory of her hair glowing in the sunrise snuck back into my mind. And every time she caught me staring again, she would just shake her head with a small smile, like she remembered everything too. One day, after a particularly stressful meeting, she asked if I could stay to help with a presentation. We stayed late. The office was quiet, empty, echoing. She loosened her hair, stretched, and sighed. "I needed that morning at the beach." "You have no idea." I swallowed, my heart pounding. "I'm glad I was there." She studied me with an unreadable expression, one that made the air thick. For a moment, it felt like the world narrowed down to just the two of us. But then she blinked, as if remembering herself, and softly said, "We should finish this slide." The tension faded, but the connection didn't. 2 weeks later, the merger crisis exploded. The deal nearly collapsed, the board panicked, and Sophia was blamed for everything, even though she was the one trying hardest to save it. One night, around 11 p.m., I found her alone in the conference room, head in her hands, her shoulders shaking. She wasn't crying. Sophia Hale didn't cry, but she was close. I shut the door gently and sat across from her. "You don't have to pretend with me," I said quietly. Her breath hitched, and she looked up, eyes raw, defenses gone. "Why does it feel like I'm fighting alone?" she whispered. I swallowed the lump in my throat. "You're not," I said. "I'm here. With you." She stared at me for a long moment, and then, without warning, she rested her forehead against my shoulder, not an embrace, not a breakdown, just a moment of weakness she allowed only to me. I didn't move. Didn't speak. I just let her breathe. When she finally sat up, she wiped her eyes, embarrassed. Sorry. I shouldn't, you should, I interrupted softly. Everyone needs someone. She blinked, surprised by my boldness. Then she whispered, and somehow, you became that someone. My heart twisted. By morning, we had rebuilt the entire proposal, fixed the projections, and found errors no one else had noticed. The next day, she presented it to the board with renewed fire. She won the room completely. Afterward, when the applause died down, she searched for me in the crowd. Our eyes met. She didn't smile, but something warm flickered in her gaze. Later, she called me to her office. I stepped in nervously. She walked closer, stopping just inches away. You saved this company, she said quietly. You saved me. My breath caught. I didn't do it alone. She gave a small, sad smile. You don't understand. People help me because they're paid to. You helped me because you cared. I didn't know how to respond. She stepped even closer. Do you remember what I said at the beach? She whispered. My throat tightened. Which part? Her eyes softened. The part where I told you to look at my eyes. And then she lifted my chin gently with her hand. I want you to keep looking, she murmured. I froze again, but this time not from fear. Something deep, unspoken, and fragile hung between us. She didn't kiss me, didn't cross a line, didn't ask for anything impossible. She simply looked into my eyes as if asking permission to be vulnerable with me, not as a CEO, not as a boss, but as a woman who had finally allowed herself to trust someone. And in that moment, I understood. Sometimes the strongest people are the ones who hide behind steel walls, who seem unshakable, who carry too much without ever asking for help. And sometimes, all they need is one person who sees the cracks and chooses to stand beside them anyway. The morning on the beach had embarrassed me, scared me, and nearly ruined my reputation, but in the end, it became the moment that brought two unlikely people together, not through romance or impulse, but through honesty, courage, and the simple act of truly seeing one another. And every time she passed me after that, whether at work or on another quiet sunrise walk, she would glance at me with that same teasing smile and whisper, "Eyes up here." But now, it meant something different. It meant she wanted me to see her, and she wanted to see me too.